Good morning, Vande Matram, welcome all of you. Here we are going to have a short discussion on the right of freedom. So that is the topic of discussion for this session before us. We are going to have a short discussion on freedom. We'll quote from few lines from Sri Aurobindo and mostly we'll concentrate upon mother's writings. So the right to be free. So when we think of the freedom that is there is on just side by side, the existing term is bondage. So we are now bound. We are facing the bondage. From that bondage, we really want to be free. That freedom is absolutely necessary, and we know here the topic is the right to be free. The right of freedom. We are having. We want to see how Mother and Sri Aurobindo really tries to describe, analyze in their own terms. It is a great topic, right of freedom. So when Sri Aurobindo quotes in Savitri, freedom, he asks what needs to live in bonds. Every time he keeps asking the freedom, but needs to live in bonds. That is what the requirement we have seen. Freedom, he asks what needs to live in bonds. He has a need of darkness to perceive some light. Darkness has become a need for him because he wants to perceive some light. He has a need of grief to feel a little bliss. To feel a little bliss, the grief has been one thing, is a necessity, has been a necessity for him. And of course, he has a need of death to find a greater life. You don't know after death which life will come. Is it a greater life? Is it when this life will come? That we can say, but actually in we are expecting a greater life, we are dreaming of a greater life. For that we are sparing this life, we are accepting and this death as a need. So here we will try to quote on a right of freedom. We will try to quote from the mother, what how the mother describes. Mother quotes many times in his writings, particularly the Synthesis of Yoga by Sri Aurobindo. And Sri Aurobindo warns us against the imagining of those who believe that they can do sadhana without rigorous self control. Because most of the people in their own imagination, they imagine, they dream of that without self control they can do anything. But it's Sri Aurobindo warns against this imagination. Because who heed all sorts of inspiration they hit, and which led them to a dangerous imbalance where all are repressed, hidden. So this type of imagination is a very dangerous thing for them, but they don't know. Again, I will try to quote. Sri Aurobindo warns us against the imaginings of those who believe that they can do sadhana without rigorous self-control, and who heed all sorts of inspiration which lead them to a dangerous imbalance, which all their repressed, hidden, secret desires come into open. Secrets, here in the course, repressed number one, hidden second, and the secret desires come into the open under the pretense of liberation. Under the pretense of liberation from the ordinary conventions and ordinary origin. That is the difficulty, that is the danger really they feel. Again, Mother tries to explain. One can be free only by soaring to the heights, because this is the bondage. As long as we have bondage, everything is on right, because we both are bound, so nothing to worry, no more to be worried. And when somebody, then when there is a chance of progressing, where there is divinity, there is stupidity. As long as you will be moving, the stupidity will be following, and a stage comes where the stupidity finds helpless to follow, and there itself it simply leaves you free and you move up. So that is the height, Mother quotes. One can be free only by soaring to a height. Soaring to a height, you have to soar up, and to that right height must be reached, high above human persons. This height is high above the human persons. If you keep asking where is the height, how long it is, what is the length of the height, like this, it can't be said. High above human persons. Only when one has achieved a higher Only when, mother quotes, only when one has achieved a higher selfless freedom and done away with all desires and impulses, does one have the right to be free. So these are the condition. First condition, you must reach a height that is above the human persons. That is the first one. Second, mother quotes and tries to explain only when one has achieved a higher one and achieved one higher selfless freedom but a selfless freedom and done away with all desires. Entire desires must be done away with, and impulses does one the right to be free. So these desires and impulsions must be done away with, so that you will achieve the true freedom. Again, mother is having some confidentials. She is having some concerns, but neither should people who are very reasonable, very moral, according to an ordinary social laws, think themselves wise. For their wisdom is an illusion and holds the profound, no profound truth. Most of the time we boast of, some people are there like moralists, like people who are having reasonable, very moral, what mother emphasizes. So reasonable people and moral people, they feel according to their ordinary social laws, they think themselves wise, but they don't know what is the real definition of wise wisdom, and what is the point, so that you can become wise. This is the ignorant world. If somebody feels I am wise, simply it is a laughing stock. So for their wisdom is an illusion and holds no profound truth. You must know, you must think of, you must have to evaluate yourself. You feel wise, no problem. It is your thinking. You can feel anyway. You can take your any option. But thing is that this wisdom you possess, if you boast of, you think that is as per mother, it is nothing but an illusion and holds no profound truth. Again mother moves forward. On one who would break the law must be above the law. One who would break the law must be above the law. That is what the requirement, because he is living bound by the law, living behind the law, living confined within the law. Naturally he can't break it. That one must know. One who would break the law must be above the law. One who would ignore conventions must be, above the conventions. So, one who would despise all rules must be above the rules. So very very great thing, really great things have been quoted by mother. It is the really great thing. One who would break the law must be above the law. One who would break the law must be above the law. Second, one who would ignore conventions, who would ignore conventions must be above conventions. One who would despise all rules must be above the rules. That is what the requirement. For that, initially mother quoted, you have to rise to the height. You don't know what is that height is beyond all persons. If you are bound, confined to the persons, then life is seized. And the motive of this liberation should be never be personal, egoistic one. This motive of this liberation, this perfection, this freedom must not be a personal or egoistic one. Then this desire to satisfy the ambition, mother quotes, desire to satisfy the ambition, aggrandize one's personality through a feeling of superiority out of concept of the others, to set oneself above the herd and regard it with the condensation. So that selfless motive must be there. Selfish and egoistic motive must be barred. It has no value. So mother again quotes, "Now be on your guard when you feel yourself superior." Most of the time we feel we are superior, we know more, we are wise. Many ways we feel boast. This is the hidden ego, hidden pride, hidden boasting. It is there. So, mother warns us against those things. Be on your guard when you feel yourself superior, and look down on others as the ironically. Look down. I feel superior. There is no problem. That that blue-colored jackal. Actually, he was trying to take the entire rent into his hands. And finally, what happened? Even the lion and the tiger, they felt it is a marvelous creation. It has come. It is a big and a great element, creates creature. So they expected, and they also followed for some time. And later, what happened? The result and consequence. So this Nilavarna Sugala, this blue-colored jackal, actually this jackal, out of irony, fell into the blue that was prepared by this washerman. So finally, what happened? He felt, I am great, I will try to cheat, but finally it is cheated. And the mother course, as if you say, I am no longer made for such stuff. I am no longer made for such stuff. That's when you go up and go up the track and are in danger of falling in the abyss. I am not in the track. I feel myself superior. Everything I look upon the world with a very egoistic eyes. Then actually, what problem? The my comments cause I pronounce the word the sentence like this: I am no longer made of such stuff. I am totally superior. Then what happens? That is the really that the pitfall comes. What is actually waiting? That's when you go up the track. Go up the track. That track you are treading, you go up the track and are in danger of falling into the abyss. That is what you must know, and of course you can remember. This is the main problem that must be taken care of. It has its truth. And then we'll try to quote a few lines on freedom from Sri Aurobindo, how Sri Aurobindo is defining things on freedom. Yeah, free actions is the action of the divine in us. That is what free action. But most of the time, we feel we are free. We are performing our action freely because mother has not commanded me. My wife or husband, they have not given any emphasis on me. So free action is the action of the divine in us. Action of the divine in us. That is the free action, and through us, in us and through us, and no other action can be free. Only the action that is free, that is the action of the divine in us and through us. No other action is free. It is only if you belong to entirely to the divine that you are become the free. Unless otherwise you are 100% entirely, so wholeheartedly, selflessly, you have belonged to the divine. Unless otherwise it is done, you are never free. Mother Sri Aurobindo quotes again. It is only if you belong entirely to the divine that you can become free. So this is everything. Only thing I want to belong to the divine. I am here to do the divine work. Only divine, nothing but the divine, and through the divine, by the divine, in the divine lies my fulfillment. That must be there. That agenda must be there. Only in God and by the supremacy of the Spirit can we enjoy a perfect freedom. Freedom is there, 1947, 15th of August, we got our freedom. But really, do you feel we are free? And Corona, that the last 3 years you can analyze. Anytime you can find the lockdown, shutdown, on the way you are just cheated like anything. You are counting fine for not wearing the mask. Your driving license is seized. You just imagine. And now the brightest example we can take that Ukraine's a free country. What is happening there? Their freedom is gone. Russia is actually occupying it. Their freedom, nothing is there. Simply they are moving like they are moving to the other countries for the take refuge, like refugee. They are all their is freedom, their choice, their job, their money, their family, their freedom. Everything is abhorred. True freedom was abhorred and hunted down. It is there. So where is the freedom? Only in God and the supremacy of the Spirit can you enjoy the entire freedom, perfect freedom. So again, freedom is the law of being in its illimitable unity. Law of being in its illimitable unity, secret master of all nature. Freedom is the law of being in its illimitable law of being in its illimitable unity, secret master of all nature. Again, freedom comes by unity without limits. Unity, union with the divine, that is yoga. But little further, Sri Aurobindo wants to when was again little forward and course. Freedom comes by unity without limit. Unity is truth, but without limit. For that is our real being. Freedom is comes by unity without limit. For that is our real being. Freedom is necessary to life as a law and a regime. Freedom is necessary to life as a law and a regime. It is necessary. That is a requirement. That's what we search. Again, first, here in the course, freedom is the final law and the last consummation. That is the what you are inquiring right now, but you must go, you must feel, and you must achieve. Freedom is the final law and the last consummation. And in another term, Sri Aurobindo tries to explain, human society progresses really and vitally. So human society, not an individual, entire society is here in the quotes upon, stresses upon. So human society progresses really and vitally in proportion to the law become the child of freedom. So proportionately this progress, this growth comes. Again, we can find freedom and the order. Most of the time we try to analyze, we try to compare this freedom and order. All freedom must have a truth in it, entire freedom. There must be a truth in it and an order, either a rational or an instinctive or intuitive order. So, with the freedom, there must have a truth in it and an order. This truth, this order must be rational or instinctive or intuitive order. It is actually this order is it follows. Again, for the end, at the end, we are trying to analyze a great thing: freedom and unity. That is a great thing. As people, most of the time, people try to know. You can't realize freedom and unity unless you realize the God. That is the initial condition. You can't realize freedom and unity unless you realize the God. But you can't possess freedom and unity unless you possess God. So, to realize God, to possess God, possess at once your highest self and the self of all creatures. Everything must be done so you can realize the freedom and unity unless you realize God. So you have to realize the God first. You can't possess freedom and unity unless you possess God. To possess freedom and unity, you have to possess God. Third, possess at once your highest self and the self of all creatures. That is what the requirement. So here we know Mother quotes that a great line like this. Another thing what already we have discussed, I will try to quote it for your better convenience from the mother's view. Three things mother quoted beautifully. One who would break the law must be above the law. That is the initial condition. One who would break the law must be above the law. So second, one who would ignore conventions must be above the conventions. That is the second condition. Third, one who would despise all rules must be above all the rules. These are the three great conditions, with which we'll try to gain the freedom, liberation, and true freedom and liberation only with the divine, by the divine, for the divine, divine through the divine. Vande Mataram.